Did you know there are K-pop fans who rehearse the fan chants even before a group debuts? They gather in forums, create slogans, and decide the order of the members' names, all in secret, as if preparing a collective spell. It seems small, but it's the seed of a global phenomenon. While the West celebrated the improvisation of garage bands, Korea cultivated artists in closed studios, as if planting stars in the dark. In the 90s, groups like H.O.T and S.E.S were seen as mere local bets. No one imagined that this combination of music, choreography, and aesthetics would become a national symbol. Backstage gossip, they say many of those idols found it funny when foreigners tried to sing their lyrics. Little did they know that in just a few years, the whole world would be doing it. K-pop was born in silence, but it carried something explosive. Discipline transformed into a dream. And if it all began with fans shouting at empty stages, what happens when the entire planet starts shouting together? Suddenly, the improbable became inevitable. K-pop was no longer just Korea's, it belonged to the world. The grueling training, the synchronized rehearsals, and the almost military focus created something that felt unbreakable, and audiences loved it. The contrast is irresistible. Young people in Seoul dancing with robot-like precision while conveying emotion with the intensity of poets. And behind this blend of technique and charisma was Korean soft power, the idea that culture is also power. Instead of weapons, Korea exported rhythm, fashion, and aesthetics. A delightful tidbit, companies trained idols to smile with even their eyes, knowing cameras around the world would fall in love with them. And it worked. In just a few years, artists like BoA and TVXQ were touring Japan, then Europe, then the entire planet. K-pop became a showcase of discipline, art, and dreams, a mirror where the world saw itself and wanted to shine the same way. But the greater the success, the stronger the urge to be perfect, and perfection always charges a price. The second generation of K-pop was the peak of control and beauty. Every move, every camera blink, every outfit, everything timed with surgical precision. TVXQ, Big Bang, Girls' Generation, names that seemed synonymous with perfection. Korea finally had its superheroes, and the fans, they became co-authors of the story. The light sticks glowing in arenas looked like living constellations. The crowd chants echoed like anthems. And the most curious part, some fandoms would rehearse those chants in empty gyms before shows so they wouldn't miss a single syllable. K-pop became a collective ritual of admiration. But between us, it wasn't all roses. The pursuit of perfection turned into obsession. Mistakes were forbidden, smiles had a schedule, and amid this meticulous spectacle, some artists started to miss improvisation, chaos, freedom. That's where K-pop changes its tone, because after order comes rebellion, and some idols dared to defy the very mold, dancing out of line, singing the way they felt. The first crack in the facade came with artists who dared to be imperfect. Taemin, in Move, turned the body into language, dancing between the feminine and the masculine with an almost provocative ease. Sunmi, in Gashina, showed that vulnerability can also be power. Suddenly, K-pop, so known for harmony, discovered the beauty of imbalance. Backstage gossip, many choreographers thought that Move was too strange, until they realized the whole world was copying that mysterious shoulder on TikTok. This generation of artists dared to bring adult themes, darker narratives, and even critiques of the system itself. They proved that being an idol is also being human. But of course, boldness has a price. With every step outside the norm came judgments, boycotts, and threatened contracts. Even so, something had changed. The audience didn't want just perfection anymore. It wanted truth. And when the truth starts to shine, the system gets scared. K-pop was more beautiful than ever, but also more tense. And the next chapter would show what happens when the glow starts to hurt. Behind the glittering stage, there is a dark hallway. There, smiles rest and exhaustion begins. 12-hour trainings, restrictive diets, contracts that are nearly impossible to break. The dream of being an idol is beautiful on the outside, but heavy on the inside. There are stories of trainees who spent 8 years waiting for a debut that never came. Others who, at the height of success, collapsed emotionally, and the audience only found out later. K-pop is a clock that never stops, and anyone who falls a second behind risks being forgotten. Even so, something touching arose from this pain. Fans organizing campaigns to support their idols, raising funds, sending messages of strength. It's a rare bond, fan and artist healing each other. And between us, maybe that's what keeps everything alive. Because even when the system seems cruel, the genuine love between idols and fans creates shelters. And from this tension between brightness and shadow, a new era of K-pop was born, one of discourse, courage, and healing. From chaos came rebirth. BTS started small, with few fans and lots of doubt. Today, they speak at the UN about self-love. BLACKPINK turned the stage into a runway and the runway into a stage. Stray Kids and 17 do everything with their own hands. They write, produce, direct. This is the generation that turned pain into fuel. Fun gossip, luxury brands fight over idols to the point of offering multi-million-dollar contracts just to have them as exclusive ambassadors. But the most beautiful part is that even amid flashes and awards, these artists keep a discourse of humanity. They talk about anxiety, pressure, purpose. K-pop has matured. From a manufactured dream, it became conscious art. From product, it became identity. And the more global it becomes, the more it carries Korea with it. The language, the values, and the aesthetics. Overcoming became its signature. K-pop reinvented itself not just to entertain, but to inspire. And before it becomes spectacle, it always returns to its roots, the sound, the culture, and the emotion that created it. Long before futuristic choreography and cinematic music videos, Korea was already telling stories through music. Pansori with its slow, dramatic cadence, and Trot with its pop-tinged melancholy were the first notes of this cultural DNA. Today, K-pop echoes them, sometimes in a drum beat, sometimes in a costume inspired by the hanbok. In Idol, BTS sings as if performing a modern ritual, blending national pride with global electronica. Fun fact, some idols keep small amulets in their stage outfits, believing they bring good luck to performances. And between us, it's impossible not to smile at that. The past and the future sharing the same stage. K-pop is modern, but it has never forgotten its roots, its tradition disguised as trend. And from these old memories, contemporary rituals were born, not created by gods, but by fans. Because where there is rhythm and remembrance, there is continuity. And K-pop is exactly that, a tradition learning to use LED lights.